see this, I think wings makes me think bird.
Okay.
But yeah, I can see a ladybug.
Okay, how about this right here? And we can cut like the corners off of it. Oh, okay, we'll be back. Alright, I have this right here. Let's see, which one do I want to use? The second one looks like. So, let's see what we can do. We got a flat piece. And I'm going to go ahead and go with the biggest one. I'd rather have too much than not enough. I hope it works. I forgot to get new things that oh well, I don't know what to tell you. I need to get some more. Alright. Now I want a little one. So we're going to go with this color for a little one. And I think I'm going to want this so I can turn everything. Or I wonder if I got a piece in here that will work. Instead of cutting up this whole big piece here. Because right now I'm just on, I don't know if it'll work or not. No, we'll use that one. Yeah, ain't no need. We can use this one. Alright. Now, that can go over there. That can go over there. Alright, now I got that one. Now, I think I can use this one for this. All this is just a test for right now. And I'm hoping that it will make, oh crabby crap, what are those called? Ladybugs. So, we're going to find out. Come on.
Quit. Wait more. Wait more.
That'd be pretty if it did. Alright. Now I've got those pieces. Let's see what we can do here. Alright, we're going to want this piece on the bottom. And then we're going to want this piece right here, like that. And then we're going to want this piece going down around the curve right there. There we go. Let's go down. Oh, come on. Like that. There we go. Ha ha ha. Alright, let me see what Rick has. Hey Rick, come here. What does that look like?
I mean, it could be a bird.
How about a ladybug?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
The only thing, the reason I didn't think ladybug is the colors.
As the colors, okay.
Okay. And when I see this, I think wings makes me think bird.
Okay.
But yeah, I can see a ladybug.
Yeah. Okay, how about this right here? And we can cut the corners off of it. Oh, okay, we'll be back. Okay, what about that? I mean, ignore this right here.
I know.
Or should it go in more?
For it to look like a ladybug?
Yeah.
I think the way you had it to start with.
The way I had it started.
The only, like I said, the colors is the only thing, and then I thought wings.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, I didn't want to say it looked like a bird because it don't look like a bird.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it had a skinnier body right in here.
Yeah.
Probably one more of these, and it would be a bird.
But yeah, that looks like a.
That looks like a ladybug.
Yeah.
All right.
If you think about it, you can't see the ladybug's wings.
You can't
unless
see them.
they're out.
Oh, well, okay, the thing in the car, you know, these right here, slacks.
Yeah.
I was looking on it and I'm like, I wonder how I can make one. And that's what made me come up with that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you see what I'm talking about on the ladybug. You don't see because they go up under them.
Yeah. It goes more.
Well, you don't even see the wings.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, they go under. It's got like a shell, like a turtle.
Yeah. Yeah, more that way. I wonder if I should use 3 of these instead of a big circle. I wonder how that would look.
Right.
All right, let's try that out and see how that looks if we use 3 of these. Oh, come on. How about that, Rick?
Yeah.
That's better, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Than this big thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That works for me.
You too. You
Should this be bigger or smaller or?
Maybe a tad smaller, not much.
Okay.
It does look like a little, kind of over, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
I wouldn't cut much off of it.
Okay, let's try it. I need that little one. If I can find it.
I'll get that anyway.
It's fine, it ain't my way. Well, I don't see it. right anyway. Alright, how about this? Rick?
Yeah, that looks good.
That looks better.
Yeah, I think so.
Alright.
That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. Well, your opinion counts to me.
I know that, but I just mean it does look better that way,
Yeah.
I think, don't you?
Yeah. Alright, let's see what, if we can use the 12-inch, boy, it would be most definitely. I think this one right here would be the better one to use. And I wonder, let's see if we can't bring these two down. A little bit. Let's see. No, I'm not gonna like that.
Oh, shit, dude, come on. God damn, I want to do this.
I think that right there looks better. Put it like that. We'll get this size material to sew it onto. So, now, let's see what we can get here. And see if I can't find something. Alright, I'm going to try something new here. I want 2 pieces up here. And 2 pieces down here. Alright, the first thing I need to do is get this evened up. This side looks better. I'd rather use it. Alright, now I want to take this, put it down right about here. Dadgummit. I'm not left-handed, and that way I don't cut it right. Alright, now, let's see if we can't turn this around. I want to open it up. Now I want to be able to have this so that it will fit in there and all. So I think what I can do is, let's see what I can do here. Scoop that up, and I'm going to cut this down so I ain't got all that to mess with. Alright. Now, I want to take, let's see if I can't turn it sideways, right here. And, oh, why did I do that? Oh, crubby. Man, that thing is hard to do. Alright, I'm going to see how much I got up there. Okay. I got some up there. Alright, now I'm going to go this way. Like that. Now. Okay, where's the rest of it? Alright. So, now, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to want two of them. One to go on one side and one to go on the other side. So, okay. I hope this works out. If it's not, oh, that looks good. That looks good. Alright, let's see what we can do about trimming it down to the size we need. I want to try to keep as much of the pink as I can.
Stop.
Pull up here to top. I don't want to cut that thing down no more. It has to stay open. Oh, come on. Oh, I should iron it better. There we go. Now let's try it out. The face of it doesn't show too good because of the same colors back here. So I need to change this color. And let's see what we can find right here. Let's go see what he has to say about it.
All right.
You like it? All right. All right.
What do you think?
I think it'll work.
Yeah.
I think it'll work. Alright, we'll be back. I'm going to read you the story that I sent in to get the book, The Bigfoot Finder. Okay, my name is Sandy. I want to tell you a story of me and my friend who had 2 children. I will keep names to myself. She just bought a cute little house in the woods. She was there about a week. She called me and asked me if I would come and see her and spend the night. Said her children seen something or someone, and it was scary to them and hairy. So I got my coffee stuff and other things together and went to spend the night. She told me her children seen a hairy man in the backyard. So I talked to the children to see what they saw. She told me she seen a big hairy man in the backyard, and they come running into the house and told Mom. And she knew I was into scary things, Wolfman, Bigfoot, so on. On my way, I stopped by the store and I got a bag of apples. And when I got there, the children was joyed for the apples, and I gave them one. There they went running into their rooms. Mom told me the story. It was about 6 or 7 o'clock. I went outside and I said in a loud voice, "We live here too. We do not want you to disrespect us, and we won't disrespect you. You have more land than we do. You don't bother us, and we won't bother you. If you agree, you can have the apples, and it will tell me you will not hurt us." And I left the apples outside. Then, that night, we all learned about Bigfoot and their eyes and Wolfman, and I told them about the Indians saying we should not say the one's name. It is bad, really bad. But I put on a card Win, W-I-N-T-H-E, and G-O. But they did not know it was not true. But Mom did. We all had to go a good night's sleep, and we got up and the apples were gone.
During the 14th century, a disease ravaged Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, whose devastation is unparalleled. It's estimated that between 100 and 150 million people died over a few short years, at a time where the world's population was around 350 million, making it the deadliest pandemic in recorded history. The bubonic plague was likely able to spread along the trade routes, both along the Silk Road and aboard merchant ships. Those infected by the plague would die in only a few days, often in extreme agony, unaware of the cause and unable to receive any meaningful treatment. In today's video, we will cover the Black Death, its symptoms, and the devastating effect it had on so many. The Black Death, otherwise known as the bubonic plague, is caused by the bacteria Yersinia pestis. It is a disease that can affect both animals and humans, though it is predominantly found on rodents and their fleas. A person affected with the bubonic plague will suffer from fever, chills, and fatigue. But the telltale symptoms are large black buboes on a person's lymph nodes, on their armpits, groin, and neck. These fill with dead blood and pus, and will burst, further spreading contamination. In addition to bubonic plague, pneumonic plague can develop, affecting the lungs and can be spread from person to person by infected droplets. And finally, there is septicemic plague, where the bacteria will replicate in the infected person's blood. It can be a complication of pneumonic or bubonic plague, though it is possible for it to occur without the other. The disease favors infecting and killing rats and other rodents. It is capable of wiping out an entire colony in just a few weeks. Fleas that would drink from the infected blood of the dead rats would remain and feast until another rodent or human strayed too close. And so, the cycle begins anew. It was likely through the spread of infected fleas and their rat hosts that the Black Death was able to spread throughout the world. Rats favored the damp and dark holds of the merchant ships, the perfect vector for spreading the plague. Rats in turn thrived in the unsanitary conditions of human settlements. At the time, waste of all kind was often dumped into the streets with little in the way of sewers. The first known instance of the Black Death arriving in Europe can be dated to a siege of the port city of Kaffa on the Crimean Peninsula in 1346. The forces of the Mongol Golden Horde were beset with the bubonic plague, and, in some early form of biological warfare, reportedly catapulted the corpses of the infected dead over the city walls. Whether or not this actually happened, it cannot be denied that the disease entered the city. Caught between the plague within the city and the Mongol forces at the gates, a number of Genoese traders fled by ships to the rest of Europe, calling at Constantinople, Sicily, and northern Italy. As the ships would arrive at port, dockside workers would be greeted with a truly horrific sight. Sailors, both corpses and those dying from the disease, displayed the black buboles, marking them infected with the Black Death. The ships were held as it was established what was happening, though it was already too late. It was reported that even hearing the words of the infected was enough to transmit the disease. But by this point, the rats and fleas had been able to spread from the ship and began to infect the populations. This would be a story along the European coast, where trade ports and coastal settlements were infected. The speed in which the Black Death was able to spread is staggering considering the modes of transportation available. From the initial infection in Constantinople in May of 1347, by March the following year, most of Europe was under the effects of the Black Death. Only Iceland and Finland were spared from the disease. Once a town or settlement was infected, it would only be a matter of time for a large proportion of the population to be killed. For a time, a person will display no symptoms, yet will still be contagious. It would be far too late to quarantine the infected once they display symptoms. At the time, there was no understanding of germ theory, with many incorrect beliefs persisting as to the cause and spread of the disease. You may have seen the iconic plague doctor masks with the hooked beak-like nose and flowing robes. Whilst you may associate this outfit with the plague doctors of the Black Death, such an outfit did not exist until the 16th century outbreak of the disease. The long-beaked nose would be filled with all manner of herbs and spices, both to block out the smell of the rotting dead, who were often left in their homes to die alone. But it was also believed that the disease might spread through the foul odors. For the first outbreak, doctors relied on bloodletting and lacing the buboles to attempt to cure patients. It was believed at the time that proper levels of blood, bile, and pus ought to be maintained for a healthy body, and so, by draining the patient, it was believed that the patient might be saved. However, such practices only spread contagious fluids and offered no treatment. Before the ready availability of antibiotics, there was an attempt to create elixirs to cure patients, one of which was made from treacle, ale, chives, and charred eggshells. And as you can imagine, this offered no reprieve from the disease. It appeared the only solace that could be found was during the winter, as this was when the disease would disappear, only to resurface once the weather improved. The death toll would range greatly from city to town to village. Often, it would be around 25 to 30% of the population who would succumb to the illness, though it could be much higher. In Cairo, it is believed that 50% of the population perished, whilst in Florence, it is believed that 90% died of the Black Death. As entire towns were devastated by the disease, those who thought themselves well would flee, leaving ghost towns of the dead and dying. Families would be torn apart as the children would be left by their parents, spouses leaving their affected partner, and brother leaving brother. Mass graves were used to accommodate the masses of the dead, with not enough time or available clergy to perform any form of last rite. Those that left would unwittingly carry infected fleas hidden within their clothing and would pose a threat wherever they may have ended up. As there was no viable explanation, many looked to other causes or explanations for the deadly illness. Some looked to the stars, believing there to be some form of astrological cause, whilst others saw the disease as a punishment from God for untold sin. Others pointed the finger at those deemed as other, with instances of Jews being accused of poisoning the wells, often followed by some form of pogrom. Whilst people realized that contact, particularly with the clothes of the infected, could cause infection, it was never understood that it was the fleas and rats that caused the infection. The unsanitary conditions of many towns and villages only assisted in the breeding grounds of rats and their fleas, with the streets often covered in human and other types of waste. By 1351, the Black Death had taken its toll on much of the world's population, though it did leave behind more than corpses as its legacy. As a result of drastic depopulation, survivors found their labor in demand, often receiving greater wages or preferential treatment. As the size of the workforce could not be relied upon for the greater production, improvements in farming were pushed, as too was the focus on animal farming rather than crops. Although such improvements often came in tandem with some form of resurrectionary laws, preventing social mobility of the peasant classes. For some in Western Europe, it spelled the end of serfdom, whilst for those in the East, serfdom was enforced. Whilst the Black Death laid bare the inadequacies in medicine, it did highlight the importance of surgeons and the role they might play in the field of medicine. But for those who survived, an immense sense of survivor's guilt was commonplace. To witness half of your town or village and your friends and family die in a matter of weeks, only to be left alive without explanation. Groups of flagellants, that is those who inflict pain and punishment upon themselves for atonement, appeared as one way of dealing with the guilt, flogging themselves bloody. Whilst the Black Death of the 14th century was the deadliest, it was not the last the world would see of the bubonic plague. The disease would flare up from time to time, lasting years and taking a heavy toll. It proved an ever-present threat occurring in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Notable examples include the Great Plague of London in 1665, where around 100,000 people died, which was 25% of the population at the time. It was in the 1850s when the disease struck hard again, starting in China before spreading to much of the continent, to India, and to Australia. It is believed that around 15 million people perished, with around 10 million dying in India alone. To this day, the disease still exists, though is largely kept in check by both vaccines and antibiotics. As is the case with bacteria, there is the fear of strains that become resistant to the drugs, as seen in a number of outbreaks in Madagascar in 2014 and 2017. There will be a handful of cases each year in the developed world, with the occasional death. Currently, the three most endemic countries are the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Madagascar, and Peru. It is important to note that if the pneumonic plague is left untreated, it is 100% fatal. Although it would show up sporadically over the coming centuries, the disease would never again reap such a heavy toll as the Black Death of the 14th century. The Black Death can be seen as an example as just how far we have come in dealing with pandemics. From advancements in medicine to our understanding of transmission, we are truly privileged to live in such times. As our understanding only grows, perhaps one day humanity will be able to look back at the diseases that still affect us today, just as we look back at how far we have come from the events of the Black Death.